welcome everyone to the India League, and I'm pleased to be joined by one of the stalwarts of the organization who's been a part of it for a number of years now, Krishna Pujara, who's joining me. And Krishna, I wanted to ask you, why is the India League so important to you? Because you've been an active board member of it. You've been keen to be a leading proponent of it. And given its history, what do you see the future looks like for the India League going forward?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alpesh. It's really nice to be here. I mean, with India League, we know it was set up way back in 1928 to make sure that we are a Britain-based organization where its aim was to campaign for the full independence and self-government of India at that time. And over the years, India League has moved on. And obviously, there are so many things that India League can do and has been doing for a while. We aim to campaign for India League in terms of the Indian diaspora, and under your leadership as the president of Indian League, we are really pleased that you're going to take this forward in terms of promoting the needs and the concerns of the Indian diaspora in UK.
And I guess, you mentioned it was set up in 1928, and whilst it was initially set up with that aim of Indian independence, but I guess broader than that was the upliftment, the empowerment of Indians globally, and to give Indians a global voice. So would you still see it having that global impact, and that, I guess, that's still that core purpose from its initial beginnings?
It is very, very important that this India League continues, because India League unites the Indian diaspora and the Indian community, not only in UK, but all over the world, in terms of how we have an active voice and look into the needs, and also in terms of also look into the opportunities for businesses around the world at the same time, and also play a strategic role in terms of where we can make a difference in all areas.
And if you look at some of the people who are associated with it, some of the great names in pre and post-independent India, people like Krishna Menon, for instance, individuals who are at the top of their professions, top of their roles in terms of what they wanted to see India as a global power, and as India reached across that, and the diaspora now, of course, is spread far more widely than it was in either 1928 or 47, and it's a powerful voice, an increasingly powerful voice. Do you think there remains issues of threats or concerns to the Indian diaspora? Let's put it that way. That was clear in 28. It was still clear as a fresh nation in 47. But now, do you still think there are areas which need addressing, where the community or the diaspora itself needs to have a strong voice? And if so, what areas in particular do you see those as? And then a broader role between the diaspora and, of course, the native countries in which they find themselves to ensure they engage fully. How do you see the India League doing that as well?
The India League, as you mentioned, that we have been supported, not on was established by Krishna Menon, but also supported by Jawaharlal Nehru at the time, and also Michael Foot, and have played an equal role in terms of promoting the needs of the Indian communities everywhere. I mean, obviously, when you mention about threats, I mean, there's always room for improvement in terms of making sure that we sort of accommodate the surging needs for the community, to ensure that we continue to move on and build up on what great work that has already happened, and how we sort of make sure that identify the gaps that is required to move this league forward.
And when you look at the people who have been associated with it over its more recent past, you've got people with a foot in politics, in media, in philanthropy. Do you very much still see this as a global organization? Or, of course, whilst its roots were British, because in 1928, that's what mattered the most, do you still see it very much as a UK-India entity? What do you think?
Well, I believe as a UK-India entity, in addition to globally as well, because there is a need, and now the world has become really a smaller thing, especially after the pandemic, how we have all united through around the world, and how businesses have become much, much more effective in terms of the digital services. So I think at present, currently, India League will definitely continue to flourish, and there is a lot of room for expansion for India League.
And I know
in
one or
terms
two
of
of the board
research.
members. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, carry on. Yeah, carry on. Yeah, one of the two board members.
Yes, one or two of the board members had highlighted, of course, that even in this day and age, Indians have felt there have been areas where they've been attacks upon them just by reason of ethnicity. So Fiji has been a recent example. South Africa has been a recent example. And I guess an organization like this, which is not just based, it's not, for instance, religion based, it's based across ethnicity, gives it a greater, and its heritage gives it a greater punch, as well as, of course, the fact that it's not, say, just business based or just philanthropic. So because it goes across all of those segments and ethnicity as well, it can be a very broad, a broad church, and therefore have greater impact. And I'm trying to sort of think of other organizations which could match it. As chair of City Hindu Network, of course, we're a lot smaller. As former board member of UK India Business Council, that was very much UK India, and it's very much business focused. And I can't think of another organization which has this heritage and this degree of ethnic backing right across it. And I mean, I don't know if you can, but I was struggling to think of another organization which could match its potential, and why we should be, as we approach in a few years the 100th anniversary of the India League, why it's of course needs transforming, because it's no longer about independence, but is still very much a potential voice for good, as India has sought to be, and those Indians who founded it have sought to be. I mean, what do you think about that as a role, that ability to cut across?
I totally agree with you. I believe India League will play a very important role, because it's a non-religious, non-political organization, and also an umbrella organization for the Indian community at large. So, I mean, compared to all the other organizations that are currently based in UK, I think India League is the only organization which is non-religious, non-political, and will play an active role in terms of uniting the Indian communities. And also, in addition to what you've just said about the role played by India, but not only India, but globally, how the communities will get together and how we can expand in terms of look at the needs of the Indian diaspora and forget about the threat, because obviously currently there has been a lot of a number of other groups like surging up in terms of opposition. But I'm sure united together, we will make a difference.
And I guess, and that's the thing with India itself as a country, it's a broad church. I mean, sometimes people say it's a collection of individual countries. When I travel India, you know, from say Gujarat to Andhra Pradesh, it seems like a completely different country, yet I'm still at home. You know, still feel very much at home in Andhra, or if I go to Kashmir, or if I go to Tamil Nadu, you still know you're in India, although the cuisine, the dress, everything's completely different. And I guess that's one of the strengths of the nation in itself, being unified by a constitution of liberal secular democracy, but also us as an organization. We're not, for instance, gender-based, and there's nothing wrong with gender, but there are, you know, Indian women's organizations. We're not profession-based. There are Indian lawyer organizations. I guess having that breadth, some might say too broad, but then again, the country itself is broad. And I guess in particular at this time, the point we would make is that we need more democracies more than ever. And this organization, rooted in and connected to, of course, the Constitution of India, because it fought for that Constitution, is something which also is a strong proponent. Whilst it's not political, it's political in the sense that it's a proponent of democratic values, values of equality, all those values enshrined in the Constitution of India. Let's talk about gender and age. very often it's very difficult to pass on these values, pass on these principles to ever younger generations who seem to be ever more distant. Certainly I feel more and more distant every time I celebrate a birthday. And they also seem ever more busy in their own lives. How do you think we continue that torch to those in their, say, 20s and 30s who could be inspired by the original mission and, as I say, heritage of the India League to get involved? How do you think we get that across to them?
I mean, we are all aware there has been a lot of changes over the years. I mean, initially when it was set up, which was back long time ago, and there has been a lot of changes. There has been a voice for women, voice for gender-based issues around people with same-sex issues, LGBT. A number of things have changed, and I think within that frame, India League's thoughts have also changed in terms of making sure that we get and work and respect all different genders, and in ensuring that we bring them all together and look into their needs in terms of become an active voice to ensure that they are also respected for what they are, and bring them through the diaspora and also campaign for their rights. Yeah.
And I guess that's a good point, that one way in which we can engage more and more of the community so it becomes an organization for them is to, as you say, evolve, depending on what the issues are today. The issues today are very different to what they were 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And ask them, okay, you guys tell us how you want to shape this. What do you see as the key challenges that the diaspora faces? So like we said, it doesn't overlap too much with what's already happening. So it's not it's not just sub-religious groups, but it is that breadth of, and I guess in one way, I guess the best way to think of that breadth, as I've mentioned already, is the constitution, that democratic constitution and the promise it strives to fulfill. And no nation, of course, ever, whether it's the United States or India or anywhere else, totally fulfills its constitution. Otherwise, it would be a completely perfect project. But I guess that's what our goal is with India League. Do you have any extra thoughts you want to share? We wanted to keep this interview short because now we know these days on social media, everybody's attention span is that much shorter. Any other thoughts about India League, either its vision or your plans or your thoughts on direction?
I'll tell you, it's an exciting time for all of us at India League, not only at India League, but also with the Indian diaspora, especially. I mean, I know there is a lot of changes coming into place. Please watch out this space, especially under the leadership of Alpesh Patel, who would be really making a lot of difference. And we are here to support you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And the only other thing I guess I better add to that is please be patient with me. We will build up, we'll build up various groups and subgroups depending on what people want to see and things, but it won't happen overnight. But I think we're making progress. Slowly, but surely. Various social media channels up and active to engage with people, and as I've mentioned, thanks to you and also the other members of the board and all their feet in those various camps of politics and media and business and philanthropy, it gives us a good way of accessing those sectors. And then those people in their 20s and 30s and 40s who want to find a new way of engaging both in their home country and via the league through the networks that we provide. Hopefully they'll also engage with us. Definitely. And we really want to reach out to our youth as well, youth and the women across border, in terms of what sensitive policies we are creating in terms of reaching out to people with gender issues also, because that is the in thing now, and we will be looking into that as well. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of, there's a lot that the community can do in terms of greater justice and equality. Gender being a key aspect, which ties in very much with what the UK government wants to see, regardless, and government with a small g, on both sides, both major political parties actually. I don't think there's a political party which doesn't want to see greater gender equality. And similarly with the ambitions of the India government, again, with the small g, whichever of the parties or coalitions, I think gender equality is something which also enshrined in that constitution. Of course, Britain, whilst it doesn't have a written constitution, gender equality is something which has come up many times in the Queen's speech as well. So I think it's something which we can hopefully, in practical terms, look at how can we assist implementing those, and of course bringing closer ties amongst the diaspora and between the countries as a result to do good as well in that regard. And I think that'll be just one example. Of course, race, I mean, we haven't mentioned it, but when we talk about we're an ethnicity-based organization, that people's ethnic origin is of Indian origin, race is very much a challenge that needs to be addressed and something which seeks justice. And so I think we can be a useful forum for that as well. Definitely.
And also for the new Indians, arriving Indians into the country, how do we sort of support them in terms of integrate within the wider communities to make sure that they're sort of all well settled in this country as well?
Yes, absolutely. Make sure they become as quickly as possible fully fledged members of society and the community, and it's not just easier for them, but beneficial to the host country as well, as quickly as possible. And I think we can assist providing another platform, another network through which they can do that, another set of resources through which they can do that as well. I think that's a good ambition for us to have. Well, Krishna ji, thank you very much for that. And I know we will interview you going forward as well on this, but I wanted to thank you first and foremost for being the first person we're interviewing. People will see this interview in different formats on social media, and including most probably snippets on TikTok once we get our India League TikTok channel up as well, and that's how we'll reach out to new groups. But yeah, so thank you very much for agreeing to be